I said, is it a paid gig? And they said, laugh out loud, yeah, it's filming Usher. And then it led from filming to like then helping to run his social media, then to album artwork, music videos, anything visual. You just got to have trust in your own artistic process and your own voice. But it was amazing because it helps you level up. I know what how good his music is, and I know the people that he's working with. So it's like, I want to make something that feels like a home run every single time.
Give it a year, I bet they'll call you a genius.
Jordan is known both in front of the camera and behind the camera. He founded a production company / creative agency specializing in music videos, commercials, and films. He created content for artists such as Usher, Justin Bieber, Jennifer Lopez, and the Chainsmokers. He continues to create value through his art by sharing his very own videography course. Thank you so much for being here, Jordan. My first question actually has to do with you choosing to do digital media. I feel like the one thing about photography and videography is everybody has a camera. And were you ever worried that there's so much competition? Did you think about it as a career? Was it just a hobby?
I got into it, oddly enough, like middle school, high school. Like I'm 33, so my dad had like a VHS camcorder in our garage, and I would film like me and my friends skateboarding and stuff. And that was like the earliest form of like content creation for me. Was like I would take a blank VHS and then I would film the day, and then like almost weirdly we'd watch it back. But then I started to learn like what a cut did. Like if I hit stop and then hit start, like it was almost like an edit. So then I would film with the intention of editing it. So I'd like, my friends would be like skating and I'd like stop recording, and then, and I feel like that's how like Vine was too at the very beginning. But yeah, I never thought more into it. I just know that like I loved watching Disney movies as a kid, and I was like, I want to live in that sense of like magic, or like do my best to recreate that if I could. And then my freshman year of high school, was the first year our town had laptops. They provided laptops for the students, and then my freshman year we had like electives, and I selected video production course, and like I learned how to use Adobe Premiere, and then I was off to the races. It was also like before like phones and stuff. Now like every phone is a camera, and you can like edit on your phone and stuff. But I try not, like, comparison's the thief of joy, so I definitely don't try to like compare myself to other people, and I definitely don't worry. I think there's enough like success to go around for everybody. But I love I love making art, and I love creating, or just like showing how I see the world, and hopefully it inspires other people to do the same.
It's interesting because I feel like the level of technique that you have cultivated and also that you share is really high, but I think that doesn't necessarily create the emotional reaction that I feel like your art has. So when you were learning to edit and when you were getting inspired by the idea of being able to do that, did you want to create an emotional reaction, or was that something that just came afterwards?
Every time I make something, it's like, if that's the last thing I ever made, then that's like a reflection of who I am. So like if I am never able to make anything again, it's like I can feel like I translated what's going on in my inside via that, video or photo, whatever it may be. And it almost feels like necessity to me. It feels like this is how I can show who I am through this art form. And hopefully that's what like good art is for anyone. Like when you're writing a song, you're like, this is me, this is how I'm feeling. And it's like words don't do justice, or I don't know how to quite make this, how to put this into words. So I'm going to put it into an art form.
I was walking down the street in New York the other day, and I feel like as an artist / as a person, there's so much desire to achieve the next thing or to create the next work of art. And what you're saying is really fascinating to me, because for the first time in my life, I had this realization that was, if I lost everything and this was the end of my life, I am content. And I never realized that, because I feel like there's so much of the opposite. Like there's so much in myself desire to achieve the next thing and to push and push.
Yeah.
But I realized there's so many blessings that are like more valuable than words that we have just existing and being able to create. Do you feel like that sense of every artwork could be your final piece of art? Does that mean that you're content, or how do you battle that like push and pull?
I think as humans, we tend to think that the next moment is more important than the current moment that we're in. So we're always like striving, and that's where like anxiety comes from, is like, I need to rush to this imaginary point that doesn't actually exist. And then people can like spend their whole life running towards something, realizing that, they were where they were supposed to be all along. So I just try to be as present as possible and let whatever I'm making come out as naturally as possible. And then whatever that next thing is, just put that same amount of like care and attention into it. But I kind of like having, I make photos or music or videos or whatever it may be. I just try to be as honest as how I'm feeling while I'm doing it. But yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to reach a finishing point, hopefully. I mean, I definitely try to like make whatever I'm making feel as complete as possible, but I'm always excited for whatever that next new thing is.
Do you have like lifestyle or mental hacks on how to actually be present in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of little like habits that I now have, like specifically, like when I wake up in the morning, I definitely don't check my phone first thing. I have a dog, so I'll wake up, I'll like lay with him and like feel that love, and then I'll walk him and just like be out in nature, and then I'll, I drink water. Also, I'm fully sober. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke weed. I don't do anything like that. I've been vegan for close to 7 years, so like I feel like my body feels really good right now. I like running, I like exercising. Writing's really healthy if you don't have like, I'm fortunately, for me, like video is my outlet, but for a lot of people that don't know, like sometimes you can there's like a little maze going on up there. So I think like the process of like sometimes saying how you feel is power enough to change how you feel, finding a way to release all of that. Meditating, yoga, stretching, like if you don't have that active practice, I think all of those things are really, tuning into your breath, or there's a bunch of little things like that. But yeah, I think the quickest way is just saying like thankful in your head, because when you're filled with thanks, there's not room for anything else. So like if I feel overwhelmed, I'm just like, I'll say thankful. I'm like, okay, I am, I'm living in a place that I've always wanted to live in, and I get to do what I love for a living. You can get caught up in the minutia of things, but like when you really take like a step back, you're like, oh, okay. There's no reason to like get lost in all of your emotions. Like I'm thankful right now, and I'm present, take a couple of deep breaths, and then, all of a sudden your perspective completely changes.
I feel like you have so many words of wisdom, and I actually read something that you said, and at first I thought, oh, this is like an LA statement, and then I finished reading the sentence, and I'm like, this is so deep. I actually wrote it down.
Oh, well.
You said, quote unquote, everything is a smooth road. It's all about your perception. Obstacles don't block your path. They are the path. Mm-hmm. We fight friction so much. We don't like it.
Yeah.
And yet, if you think about what makes a person strong or capable or whatever, it's actually those hardships.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what your obstacles have been that have shaped you. Like, what was your path?
I think it's when you're younger, you have a perception that they're obstacles. Sometimes it's like, I believe that like the universe is always acting in your favor. It's just we as humans and our ego, we have this like notion of control. So like you can paint a picture of how you expect, like that's why expectations like can kill you, is because you are like, this is how I want it to end up, or this is what or just the notion of want. You're like, I want this to be the outcome. And as soon as you don't get that result, all of a sudden it's an obstacle. You're like, now how do I get to this endpoint? The universe is just like, oh, this, just because you wanted to go this way, maybe it wasn't meant for you. Maybe like we're kindly putting you in this direction. And sometimes it's like you can't control your situation. You can only control how you react to it. So it's like you just react to it with like grace and peace. And so I think that's like comes with maturing, is like as I get older, if I want a job or a gig, or if I want someone to answer me or whatever it may be, and it just doesn't happen, I'm like, what's meant for you will never miss you, and whatever misses you was never meant for you, type of thing. So it's like, okay, well then
Whoa.
Well, and you just say,
I'm going to have to rewind when I think that might help me with some relationship issues, but for sure. You're thankful for where you're at. And then, that's the whole, like, obstacles don't block the path. They are the path. It's like, I look at it as like water flowing through like a lake. And if there's like little wooden blocks, it's like, it's just directing you it's going to keep flowing. It's just going to direct you somewhere that you hadn't expected. But that's like what an adventure is. It's like journeying into the unknown. You just got to become
at peace with that process, which is scary because
Yeah,
we like
sure.
to hold on to things and we like to feel like we're in control of things. But, at the end of the day, we're not. So it's, it's exciting to see where it leads you.
Has there been something specific that, like, what's the hardest thing you've gone through?
I mean, a bunch. Like, my parents separated when I was young. It was like a lot of arguing and back and forth. I spent half of my time with my dad, half of my time with my mom. And then, like, we all have a different level of that. Everyone has their own perceived hardships. But it's, I guess it's how you learn to, you take that and then you channel it into something. Hopefully you don't let it like build up like a volcano and then you explode at some point. So it's like you got to learn how to like have a healthy way of releasing that into something. And yeah, like I said, luckily, like my 9th grade, my freshman year of high school, like I found video. So it's like if I was listening to like emo music, like Taking Back Sunday, and like I was all in my emotions, but I found a way how to like channel it into something, into like storytelling and whatever it may be. So I think as long as people have a way of channeling it or like recognizing it and labeling it and then like releasing it so they don't feel like they're like having to own all of those feelings, then yeah, it becomes more healthy. But yeah, I try not to look at things as like like obstacle. Everyone loves that like story of like overcoming something. It's like even like in movies, there's like the whole third act is like the conflict and the resolution, but it's like, is there really a conflict? Like you just learn how to become at peace with whatever is kind of happening, and you don't have to take ownership of it. You just got to be thankful that you're where you're at, type of thing. But yeah,
it reminds me of what you had said earlier about Disney, and it's like Disney is this place that you can escape to. Your art is so unique, and
thanks.
It does have this magical component of that, like the sense of wonder that you've created and implemented. And I feel like
I just think I don't try to I tune into what allows me to like that resonates with me, and a lot of it is like I'm saying like Disney movies or like Life of Pi, Harry Potter, like all that stuff. I love that ethereal sense of magic. So I think it's like I'm okay with putting that, and you got to be okay with like looking like an idiot sometimes. It's like you're not going to be able to recreate exactly what inspires you every single time, but you got to like be comfortable in the pursuit of it. And I think like if you compare yourself too much and you're looking at like how other people are making things, you might be scared to like go outside of the box type of situation. But I try not to like, I love what my friends are doing and I like looking at what my friends are doing, but I never try to emulate what my friends are doing, because we all have unique lenses in how we see things. So it's just being comfortable with showing how you see it. And if like people want to quote unquote judge you for it, then it's like, that shows, like if you judge someone, it shows more about yourself than it does the actual person.
It's amazing to me that you've been able to develop such a strong social media following. But I'm curious, like there's so much gamification that's taught to you if you want to have a presence on social media. And it's almost like you're trained to think whatever resonates the most, whatever gets the most likes, like that's what I should be doing. And then all of a sudden that's taking away the creativity because you're not being free to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So how do you figure that one out?
Yeah. Again, it's not comparing, like delete that idea of comparison or whatever you're
even to yourself.
Yeah, especially to yourself, and like or even what your definition of success is, because it's like numbers never end. They go to infinity. So it's like you'll never have enough followers to make you happy. You'll never have enough money to make you happy. Like, yeah, those are all like, I look at it as like a game. Like those are like bonus points, like Mario running around, he gets his little gold coins while he's adventuring. But the goal isn't to get all of that stuff. It's like, that's just the universe rewarding you for kind of like having fun. But if you're searching for outside validation, whether it's like accolades or money or fame or whatever it may be, it goes forever. You'll never, like, it's a bottomless pit. You're not going to fill that void or hole. The only thing that's going to make you happy is being satisfied with where you're currently at. And then once you're happy with who you are and where you're currently at, and you have that sense of like gratitude or whatever, then you get to, all of a sudden you look at things way different. You're like, the way the trees move is different. The way you hear noises is different. And you're just like, it comes from this truth. It comes from a place of like peace and happiness. And that's when it's like, all of a sudden you get to really like channel something greater than yourself, or to make that sense of magic or whatever. But I definitely like comparison and judgment and all that stuff. That's labels. That's the quickest way to just you're trying to fit into a box, and there really is no box to be fit in, It's like, yeah, I'm aware that like how many posts would be good for an Instagram algorithm, or what like hashtags would like boost or whatever, or what trends people want to see. But it's like, at the end of the day, is that what you want to be? Are you wanting to just be one of like many, or do you want to be like, your own unique thing? And even if you get enough likes, I swear it won't, like when you go to rest your head on a pillow, all of that disappears. You know what I mean? You could be like, I got 9 million likes today, and you go to sleep and you're like, but I'm alone. Like that feeling is still there. So you learn how to just be like, as long as you're proud with what you did.
What you said reminds me of something that I learned a few years back, and I'd heard somebody say, if you don't feel like you're enough in this moment, you're never going to feel like you're enough. And if you don't feel like you're successful in this moment, you're never going to feel like you're successful. What's interesting is I feel like there was a bit of like coincidence or luck in meeting the right person, but really it seems like you were just doing something that you were passionate about, and that the social media and the opportunities were just a byproduct.
Yeah. My basketball coach always said luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And I think that's kind of the case. It's like things happen when they're supposed to happen. Like I was doing video in high school, doing video in college, and then I ended up like I was working at Best Buy when I like graduated school, and then I was an intern at a production company, and I got the opportunity to like tour with a musician.
Usher, right?
Well, yeah, before Usher was this artist named Chris Cab. He was signed to Pharrell, and he was opening up for T-Pain and Gym Class Heroes. And then I like quit my job. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go on this like little month tour around the U.S. And I was filming for him, and then I was filming for like some of the larger artists that he was opening for. And then I was just like filming every night, staying up all night, making little edits, and just doing that. Did it for about a month. I knew I wanted to make videos, and I got the opportunity to like do it and travel and all that stuff. And I just said yes. I definitely didn't want to work at Best Buy forever. So I'm like, this sounds more fun than that. Yeah. It was a lot of work, obviously, like filming every night and like editing on a little tiny Sprinter van. But it was fun. And then I got home and I was like, all right, I quit my job at Best Buy. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might as well like retire. Like I had no idea what I was going to do. And then I got a text saying we're looking for a good freelance videographer based in New York, because that's where I was living at the time. I said, is it a paid gig? And they said, laugh out loud, yeah, it's filming Usher. And I was like, all right. So I was filming him doing an off-Broadway show called Fuerza Bruta in New York. But I filmed him for like 3 days doing that. And it's just like, we gelled, we got along really well. Like he could tell that I liked getting, like, I wasn't scared to be too close, or it wasn't like, I just really wanted, he saw that I was just like lost in getting good shots. And then they were like, what are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, oh, I have no plans. And they're like, well, we have Saturday Night Live. Why don't you come to Saturday Night Live? So then I filmed Saturday Night Live.
Freaking out? I mean,
yeah, but at the same time, it's like when things are like snowballing, it's like you don't really have time to reflect. So I'm just like going with it. And they're like, what are you doing tomorrow? And it's like, I have no plans. And they're like, well, we have the Billboard Awards in Las Vegas. Come to Las Vegas. So I went to Las Vegas. I hadn't slept for like 4 days. I was filming his rehearsal, and his day-to-day manager was like, hey, call your family and say you're not going to be home for a while. I said, all right, sounds good to me. And then we literally from there like led to 3.5 years of just like traveling and doing stuff. The first month we went to London like 6 times. Luckily, like he was starting to do like album promo, and all I really knew how to do was like translate life into video form. So like it wasn't like I had instructions of what to do. It was just like I was capturing stuff, and then I would be like, oh, here's a cool photo that I took, or here's like a cool little video of what it felt like to be in London or whatever. And then it led from like just filming to like then like helping to run his social media, then like to album artwork, music videos, like anything visual. And like he has a similar mindset like me. It's like we'd be walking on the street, we'd see a mural on the wall, and we'd look at each other and be like, oh, it'd be dope if you like stood there, if you like danced over here, if you did whatever. And he just like, it's interesting because he kind of said something too where he was like, the age you become famous at is kind of the age you stay mentally forever.
Interesting.
And he became like, you know, pretty notable, pretty young. So I think even like to him, he was just like a big kid.
Were you ever worried that you wouldn't be able to deliver?
I mean, yeah, because like, I guess the thing is you put this pressure on yourself, because when you're working with like a notable brand, or you're working with like an artist that is like well known, you put this kind of like imaginary standard on yourself, which is good because it gives you something to aim for. But like if it becomes crippling, then it's, you know, you're never going to be able to create. So I think you just got to have like trust in your own artistic process and your own voice. But it was amazing because it helps you level up, because it's like, I know what how good his music is, and I know the people that he's working with. So it's like, I want to make something that feels like a home run every single time. There was a lot of times where I'd like just be filming like from the side with a different angle, and then he'd look at it and be like, oh, I like this, let's use this. And it's just like, you're wanting to just make the best thing you can make, and you're inspired to do it. But yeah, it's great because it gives you that kind of, hopefully everyone, when they're making something, they're inspired enough and excited enough to make the greatest version of it. You never want to become jaded no matter what level you're at. I'm sure like no matter what profession you're in, even once you reach a certain level, you could just be like, all right, well, I reached the top. Like there is no top. You just got to keep trying to make something that feels good to you.
So I want to go back to the Justin Bieber you left off. So Usher turned into working with Justin.
So I ended up moving here. And then the building that I moved into, the day I moved in was the day Logan Paul moved in, and like King Batch, Amanda Cerny, like Rudy Mancuso. Yeah, the internet basically, or Vine at the time. I knew Justin from Usher, and I was at Scooter Braun's wedding, and Justin showed me this app that he had, and he's like, it's called Shots. It's supposed to be like an anti-bullying social app because you don't see how many likes you have, and you can't see the comments, so you're not supposed to like apply the pressure onto it anyway. But I ended up getting hired as creative director for this app at the time. And then I was helping all the like Viners in the building make longer form content because they were making 6-second videos, and I'd come from a world of making longer videos than that. So I was helping them make then Instagram went to 15 seconds, and then YouTube and all of that stuff. And anyway, it transitioned from like an app to a studio. And then, it was like Leila Pari, Anwar, like all these people.
Yeah.
But that's when I started to like really get followers, because I was like helping them make videos, and literally I never locked my door. I would go eat lunch and I'd come home, and like, Leila would be on the couch, or like, it would open door policy. And then, I'd get a text like, hey, do you want to go take pictures, or do you want to go shoot? And I just wanted to be creative. I think that's now too, people are like, what am I going to get from this? That's like a terrible way of looking at things, like if it excites you to do it, do it. Don't be like, am I going to get a tag? Am I going to get paid? Am I going to, like, know your worth, that's for certain, but like, don't do it strictly for that, because then you're not going to go very far. But yeah, I was doing it just because I liked doing it. But yeah, and then I did the Chainsmokers Closer video. It was never really like...
Yeah, how did that come about? Because you were the model in it.
I made it for my YouTube. It was like a 1-minute video that I made for Instagram and my YouTube. It was like 3 1-minute videos, but it was never meant for the Closer video. It was for my YouTube channel and my Instagram. And
wow.
Rory was touring with the Chainsmokers and asked me if he can use the videos I already made, because he needed to have a lyric video by Monday. And I was like, yeah, you can just take the footage. He just took all the footage and then wrote the lyrics on top of it.
Oh my God.
And then we did an extra shoot day in Malibu, me, Rory, Jeremiah, and we rented a Range Rover and drove around, because the lyrics like in the backseat of your Rover.
Yeah.
And then he wrote the lyrics on top. I then colored it, and then I didn't think about it. And then it became the biggest song of the summer.
Let me look. It's like 2.7 billion with the B views.
Yeah.
When the music video has 232 million. Like, that's pretty special.
Yeah, I'm going to attribute a lot of it that people just hit play while they were like pre-gaming and didn't look at the video. But yeah, it's still flattering to think that it has that many views for sure. I literally said, I was just like, just put in the description that it's starring Taylor Cut Films or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why people still call me Taylor. But like a lot of people look at me and they're like, I recognize you from somewhere, and they don't know why. But yeah, I guess it helped because too, it was like, I started to do a lot more like travel type of content, which I always did because I would tour and I'd film the places I was in. But they were like, hey, can you, brands would be like, can you make a cool video incorporating this product? Or can you make a cool video in like this location? So yeah, it definitely helped with like exposure, I guess. And
is that how Taylor Cut Films came about? Like,
I was Taylor Cut Films when Usher hired me. Like, my handle was always Taylor Cut Films, and like it started in high school because I pretended like I would sneak into concert venues and say that I was Jordan from Taylor Cut Films. I pretended I worked, and I was the only employee. I pretended I had a production company. But yeah, it started like even when like I was working with Usher, it was like Taylor Cut Films was the company that was making the videos or whatever. So.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, what made you want to create your tutorials? Like, isn't that helping people take your job, technically
No,
speaking?
because no one can see the world the way I see the world, and no one can see the, you know what I mean? We can do our best. We can be empaths, but just because you have the tool doesn't mean you're going to, you could have Steven Spielberg's camera, doesn't mean you're going to be Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
But no, I believe in sharing is caring, #Barney. I like teaching, and I like teachers, and I like giving. So like wanting to share, because it's stuff that I wish that people had taught me. Be like, oh, your shutter needs to be double your frame rate, or just little like things like that. And now it's everywhere on the internet. Obviously, you can search for anything, but it's like, I definitely wanted to like share and give back as much as I possibly could, because maybe you get to help. I meet so many people now too that are like, I learned how to export from Premiere because of you. I learned how to like make a hyperlapse and that makes me the most excited, because it's like, if I get to,
that's changing their life.
My affiliation with you is like in your head is like, he helped teach me something. It's like, you always remember a good teacher,
You must believe in destiny or something. Like, your life feels, one, intentional, like you showed up and you delivered your best, but also you'd mentioned at the beginning, like, you feel like the universe has your back. Do you feel like this was meant to be your life?
Yeah, I think it's still changing, obviously, but I do. I believe in like manifest destiny, or like, I think it's a mix between free will and fate. I think if you're actively removing your ego and you're actively having gratitude, then you're able to manifest the things, or like you get to like constantly morph. You raise your frequency, however you want to, like, what goes around comes around. Justin
like
Timberlake.
nature.
All that stuff. I mean, it's true, because if you get to like, but I think if you're just sitting there like thinking you're the center of the universe and whatever's going to happen is like, you're not allowing for the unknown to unfold. So I think it's a combination where it's like, you get to, your predetermined life it's in your hands too. It's like, there was like games and books I used to read as a kid where it's like, your character would go through a door and then you get to like choose which door you want to go to. And I think you're constantly presented with like choice and opportunity, but as long as you're like thankful and you're like actively like having gratitude, then you get to like, each door like becomes like bigger, and then maybe there's more opportunities that come from that. But
I want to show you some of your pictures.
Sure.
And I want to get your first impression.
These are my impressions.
Oh.
How was that good?
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounded like an Usher lyric or something. This is the next segment, story and photographs. I'm going to show you your pictures and just like your first impression when you see them.
I'll first impression it.
Yeah.
I liked the brick backdrop. It almost looks like a 90s like music video. But actually I took that on the Sony A1, which I recently got, and it's like 50 megapixel. And it wasn't nearly that close up of a shot, so I cropped in, and I'm like really impressed on how sharp it still is. But I just like the details of seeing all of his tattoos and stuff.
Yeah, dope. Okay.
Yeah.
This beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, Greece is gorgeous.
This is literally goals in every sense.
Yeah, that was magical. I was honestly impressed at how like high up the perspective was in Santorini. Like, it was my first time being there, and I didn't realize everything was like literally on a cliff.
Are you taking this photo of yourself, by the way?
No,
is it tripod?
There's an Italian photographer that I actually met that day that helped take that picture.
Okay.
Yeah, his name's David. That's a cool thing about like social media is like, I can land in a place and you'll get like DMs, or you'll like, people will be like, oh, I see you're here. Like, I'd love to travel. I'd love to like take pictures with you, or like travel, or show you a cool place or whatever. It's like, I don't think I've ever not met up with someone random anytime.
Really?
Every time I land somewhere, like, especially if it's like locals, it's like, they're like, I love to show you my favorite places in this city. It's like, yeah, absolutely. I love to.
So is that how you're getting the photographers for all these cool places?
Some of them, yeah. Sometimes I travel with a friend who's a photographer, but yeah, a lot of the times it's just people wanting to like shoot together.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
That's called the Ferrari shot because
it looks like the Ferrari symbol?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we went to Egypt. That was the third so we had like plans of other things to do while we were there, and I just found myself wanting to go see the pyramids every single day.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so we rode horses to the backside of the
Yeah, but this isn't
pyramid.
riding a horse. This is like next level something.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I'd love to say I did that myself, but there's a guy who helps lift the horse up. He says like
Oh.
"yalla" or something, and it like
Oh.
lifts up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's the Martin Garrix and Bieber Rexa. Actually got like a text the day before asking if I wanted to come to set to take pictures. And I ended, that was cool because they were in a hot tub and I took that photo. I actually took another picture that ended up being used for the single artwork for In the
cool.
Name of Love.
Dope.
I forget how many views it just like streams. I think I reposted that because Martin posted that it just hit like 1 billion streams or something. I don't know.
Jeez.
Some number that
What a number.
doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah, that was really cool. So that actually, I was in Japan because I wrote a movie, and I shot a movie that we're still in post-production on. But in the script, I wrote that it snowed in Tokyo and Kyoto, the two places.
Okay.
And they say, like, it never snows there. And then we landed, and it snowed the day we landed.
No way.
So I got this picture of...
So did you create the snow?
Is
that the universe having your back?
I think it's definitely a sign. I would say. I'd say it's like when the universe is letting you know you're in alignment. I wouldn't dare to assume that I have the power to produce snow. I'm not like Storm from X-Men.
Right.
That would be a cool power though. But yeah, it definitely made me feel like I was on the right track when you write something down and it kind of manifests itself. So that was super surreal and it was really magical.
A lot of these pictures, I feel like it's almost like you can't make that stuff up. Like it feels like the picture is epic.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them are epic.
Well, thank you.
I'm freaking inspired. And this one doesn't even look real.
It was my 3rd time in India. I love it a lot. It was the Holi festival.
Yeah.
Those lanterns are Photoshop, but I
say.
love the movie Tangled. And there's that
Tangled?
it's a Disney film.
No, I love that movie.
So yeah, there's a scene with like the Festival of Lights.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it'd be cool to throw some lanterns in there.
It's actually on my bucket list.
Yeah, but the Taj Mahal is a very magical place.
But like the sky was actually that beautiful?
No, that's added in too. I mean,
Okay.
that's how I felt when I was there, but there was definitely a lot of other tourists around, and I think it was like more towards midday as opposed to like that kind of cotton candy sunset. But
So beautiful.
I look at it like it's Aladdin. So like I was there and I was like,
you look like Aladdin in this.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I dressed the part.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my last photo.
Okay.
And then I want one more thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel on the inside most days is just like,
Wow.
I mean, if you've been to, that's in Nusa Penida, that's in Indonesia. And it looks, I mean, other than the Disney characters, that's what it looks like. But I just wanted to be like, I feel like I'm literally in like Neverland. So let me like put little characters around that kind of look the same.
I really respect the fact that like you haven't like silenced your inner child.
No, that sounds pretty depressing.
Yeah, it does. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to play a game. It's called the 5-second rule.
Cool.
I'm going to ask you questions and you have 5 seconds to answer them or less. Do you care about how many likes you get on Instagram? You already answered that.
No.
Okay, well, there's that.
I care, but I don't worry.
Okay. I love that. Do you think that you have to hold back some of who you are from social media?
No, I think you're going to end up with dissociative personality disorder if you try to hide any of who you are. And I think social media should be a direct extension of who you are, not a separate version. So don't be embarrassed.
Does social media impact your dating life for better or for worse?
D, all of the above.
Okay. This is a good one. If you had to choose between finding your soulmate and having your dream career, what would you choose?
I think everyone's their own soulmate. And as long as you can love yourself fully, then you'll end up with a dream career.
Okay. Wow. Do you feel like every bucket of your life is like balanced and full right now from like relationship, friends, family, work?
Yeah, I think it's ever evolving for sure. I try not to I practice non-attachment, so I don't hold on to anything too much. I'm aware that everything's going to change, but yeah, I'm aware there's seasons for everything. Sometimes you have an abundance of friends and sometimes you feel like you're more on your own, but maybe you just need that recharging time or you know.
How do you set high intentions, low attachment?
Yeah.
when you really want something, you know?
Well, it's like what? It's like aim for the stars, and if you miss, you land in the clouds. It's like it's okay to aim high, but like just don't. If you're so set on the result, then that's when you're going to be disappointed. I think it's don't have expectations. Have goals, but don't have expectations.
I love it. You're very wise.
Well, thank you.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
You're perfect just as you are.
What's something that's under your covers that people don't know about you?
Like actually, I like sleeping with a pillow between my legs.
Okay, deal.
And my sheets are made of bamboo. They're very breathable.
Deal. Okay, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a true treat.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Leila Pari, and you're watching Under the Covers, my show about the risks taken, the mountains climbed, and the victories behind some of the biggest game changers shaping culture and entertainment today. Jeremy Fogg.
Yes, chef.
Max Lugavere. Mari Llewellyn.
It's me.
Glenn Coco. Drum roll. Graham Bunn.
Scott Hansen.
Greatest intro ever.
Give it a year, I bet they'll call you a genius.